Hey guys, good morning and welcome back to Answers on Eschatology. My name is Dan Derry and I'm the president of the Institute of Fulfilled Eschatology. We continue once again in our study on Matthew chapter 24, and we've been looking at the first three verses so far. And last video, we showed you one of the reasons why the disciples connected the coming of the Lord, in other words, the Lord's return, with the destruction of Jerusalem. If you recall in Matthew chapter 24, 2, the Lord pronounced judgment upon the city. Not one stone will be left upon another. Every one will be thrown down. And the disciples immediately asked him, Lord, when will these things happen? And what will be the sign of your coming? In other words, you're coming to do this. Not his personal coming in a body to destroy Jerusalem, but his coming through the agency of a foreign nation in judgment. And guys, what I want to show you is this is a biblical precedent that was established in the New Testament. It was how Yahweh always judged his people and judged foreign nations as well. So what I did show you last video was that Matthew 21, the parable of the vineyard, Jesus told his disciples and his generation that the religious leaders of that day would be judged at his return when he came to vindicate the blood of the righteous and his own death as well. And they understood, the religious leaders understood his words. They knew that he spoke of them. Matthew 21, verse 45. So the disciples understood what Jesus meant, and they connected his coming with the destruction of Jerusalem from his parable in Matthew 21, which he spoke only a few days earlier, probably. Okay? And I want to show you the biblical foundation, or the Old Testament source from where Jesus was drawing his words. Go with me to Isaiah chapter 5. Let's look at Isaiah 5, 1-7. Let me sing now for my beloved, my well-beloved, a song of my beloved concerning his vineyard, the vineyard. My well-beloved had a vineyard on a fertile hill. He dug it all around, removed its stones, and planted it with the choicest vine. He built a tower in the middle of it, and he also hewed out a wine vat in it. He expected it to produce good grapes, but it produced only worthless grapes. And now, O inhabitants of Jerusalem and men of Judea, judge between me and my vineyard. What more was there to do for my vineyard that I have not done in it? Why, when I expected it to produce good grapes, did it produce worthless ones? So now, let me tell you what I'm going to do to my vineyard. I will remove its hedge, and it will be consumed, and I will break its walls, and it will be trampled down. I will lay it waste. It will not be pruned or hoed, but briars and thorns will come up. I will also charge the clouds to rain no rain on it. Watch this, verse 7. For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel, and the men of Judah his delightful plant. He looked for justice, but behold, bloodshed. For righteousness, but behold, a cry of distress. Guys, the parable in Matthew 21 is drawn directly from Isaiah chapter 5 and Isaiah's prophecy of the vineyard, who only produce worthless grapes. And this is the plight of Israel in the first century. The Lord came to his vineyard seeking fruit, but found none. Seeking righteousness, but found bloodshed. And guys, in Isaiah's day, look what the result was. Jump with me down to verse 24. Therefore, as a tongue and as a fire consumes stubble, and dry grass collapses into the flame, so their root will become like rot, and their blossom blow away as dust. For they have rejected the law of the Lord of hosts, and despised the word of the Holy One of Israel. On this account, the anger of the Lord has burned against his people, and he has stretched out his hand against them, and struck them down. And the mountains quaked, and their corpses lay like refuse in the middle of the streets. For all his anger is not spent out, but his hand is still stretched out. He will also lift up a standard to the distant nation, and he will whistle for it from the ends of the earth. And behold, he will come with speed swiftly. No one in it is weary or stumbles. No one slumbers or sleeps. Nor is the belt at its waist undone, nor is its sandal strap broken. Its arrows are sharp, and all its bows are bent. The hoofs of its horses seem like flint, and its chariot wheels are like whirlwind. It roars it's like a lioness, and it roars like young lions. It growls as it seizes the prey and carries it off with no one to deliver it, and it will growl over it in that day like the roaring of the sea, growl over Israel. And if one looks to the land, behold, there's darkness and distress. Even the light is darkened by its clouds. Guys, in Isaiah's day, for their bloodshed, for their injustice, because they, as the vineyard of the Lord, had produced no fruit, no good grapes, the Lord would send a foreign nation to destroy them, to utterly lay them waste. And this took place, this was fulfilled primarily in the nation of Assyria, who came into Israel and took the northern kingdom captive, scattered the nations, all right, and took them into captivity in approximately 721 BC. And guys, Jesus is applying Isaiah chapter 5 to his generation. They are the vineyard. They are worthy of being destroyed. They had produced no fruit, and they had shed the blood of the righteous, and they were going to shed the blood of the Son. And guys, Jesus pronounces judgment in his day upon that generation. The religious leaders, once again, they understood, it says, that he was speaking of them. Matthew 21:45. So guys, what happened in history was repeating itself. And the reason why the disciples so readily connected the destruction of Jerusalem with the Lord's coming was because not just of Matthew 21, which Jesus had told them, of course, but they understood when he spoke that parable that he was speaking of Judah and Jerusalem, and he was alluding back to Isaiah chapter 5. And they knew from their history that the vineyard that had produced no fruit was judged. It was completely destroyed by a foreign nation. And guys, that's exactly what Matthew 24 is all about. In 70 AD, 66 technically AD, the Roman war began with Judah and Jerusalem. And in 70 AD, that vineyard that had produced nothing but worthless grapes was completely leveled. It was completely destroyed. And that was not just the destruction of Jerusalem at the coming of the Lord, but as we will see in the next video, it marked the ending of an age. So we'll pick it up next time, guys, on Answers on Eschatology. Appreciate you tuning in again. Bye for now.